Okay, let's start today's class. So, in the last class, basically, we have seen the basic definition of signal processing system, why it is needed, and basic characteristics, types of signal, that is analog signal and digital signal. Analog signal is a two-part continuous signal, discrete signal, and how one analog signal is converted to discrete and from discrete to digital, and why do we choose discrete signal to operate the overall signal for a digital processor, and some advantages and disadvantages of digital signal processing. And within disadvantages, I've told you that one of the important disadvantages is the finite word length effect, as it is finite. So problem may occur to operate a infinite signal. In today's class, already you have done this part in the signal and system portion, but I'm just going to recapture some of the parts that are going to needed in the next future classes. So some examples of signals. First one is the unit step. One unit step signal that is defined as UN. Keep in mind, in signal and system, we have considered UT. That is all the operations that we have done in the time domain T. But in that semester, that is in the digital signal processing class, we do all the operation in the form of discrete. That is UN. Okay, so the values we will consider as un xn, like that. So a unit step defines as un, and that value of un is obviously will be 1 for n greater than equal to 0, and 0 for n less than 0. Okay, means simply 1 1 1 1, like that, and that position will be the 0th position. Before that position, you will not get any value, means you will get values related to 0. And I think all of you know that symbol defines the position, initial position, that is the 0th position of the signal. So keep in mind that. So that is basically unit step, all of you know. If simply you are trying to design a discrete unit step, you will get like that. Which is in UN, and the value will be 1. 0 1 2 3 4 5, like that. The discretized samples will be provided. Okay, so next is the unit impulse, defined as delta n. And all of you know that impulse defines values only at a single position. That position may be 0, that position may be 1, that position may be 2, whatever, but it will define a value at a single position, and the value will be 1, as it is unit. So that will be 1 for n equal to 0, and 0 otherwise. And simply, if you want to get a impulse signal at a point, suppose 1, you have to make a time delay by delta n minus 1. All of you know that delta n minus 1 value will be 1 for n equal to 1. Simply keep in mind, if we put the value of n here, that must be delta 0. Okay, because the value of delta 0 is 1 always. So if at that position at minus 1, if we want to get the unit impulse, so obviously what you need to do, delta n plus 1 you need to write. Delta n plus 1 will be 0 for n equal to minus 1. If you are writing n minus 1, that means you are providing a shift towards the right side. Keep in mind, from your initial position, n minus 1 or n minus 2, n minus 3 defines the shift towards the right side of your sample axis. And if we provide plus 1, means a shift you are providing to the left side. That you need to keep in mind. Okay, so that is your impulse signals. And most, okay, now you can simply write step signal and impulse signal together. Why? Because simply if you consider step signal, you can see each and every sample of the step signal, if we consider separately, that is an impulse signal. Suppose 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 is the position, and this is the step signal. Then simply, if we consider sample at position 0, sample at position 0, so it's a un, it's a delta n. At position 1, only that sample, what will happen? This is a right shift, that is single right shift n minus 1. So that will give you delta n minus 1. Similarly, that will give you delta n minus 2. In that way, so simply the relation between step and impulse, unit impulse, is that un, you can write delta n plus delta n minus 1 plus delta n minus 2, like that. Okay, so from here, what you can write? Simply, if we consider a k variable, k equal to 0 to infinite, delta n minus k. When k equal to 0, you are getting delta n. When k equal to 0, you are getting delta n. K equal to 1, you are getting delta n minus 1. For k equal to 2, delta n minus 2, like that. So you are writing the summation. Okay. Or simply, in another way we can write, that is delta n plus other values. So for k equal to 0, that is the value. So it will vary from k equal to 1 to infinite. Delta n minus k. What is the meaning of that? Summation k equal to 1 to infinite delta n minus k. What is the meaning of that? Can anyone tell me?
So we are separating the first 0 point.
Yes, we are separating that, and that we are getting delta n, and the other all the delta values here we are getting. So what you can write from here? Delta n minus k summation k equal to 1 to infinite. What you can write?
un minus 1.
Exactly. Exactly, un minus 1. Simply if you split it, what will happen? For k equal to 1, delta n minus 1. Delta n minus 1 plus delta n minus 2, that you are getting, and that you are getting, and delta 0 from here, delta n, that gives you 0. Means simply if you plot it, 0th position gives you 0, delta n minus 1, that one peak you are getting at 1, at 2 next peak you are getting, at 3 next peak you are getting. In that way you are getting the values. So that value start from 1, so obviously that provides you u n minus 1. So delta n plus u n minus 1. So from here you are getting a relationship between the step and impulse, as delta n is defined as un minus un minus 1. Simply if you multiply a unit step and a single delayed unit step, you will get your delta signal. Okay.
Sir, but at 0, the impulse function should be 1.
At 0, the impulse function from here.
Sir, in the at the end, the signal that you have drawn, not the signal, the this un minus 1 that you have drawn here, at 0 it should be 1.
Why it should be 1?
Sir, because at 0 the value is 1. You
No, at 0 it's not 1. Actually,
un হলে তখন স্যার রাইট শিফট হয়েছে।
right shift. Actually, what we have done, that was your first value that defines delta n plus delta n minus 1 plus delta n minus 2, that value k equal to 0 to infinity delta n minus k. Now we are splitting delta n from that, from the total summation. So delta n we have written separately, and the remaining term is that k equal to 1 to infinity delta n minus k. Keep in mind, for k equal to 0, we are getting delta n, that is written separately. Now that graph defines for k equal to 1 to infinity delta n minus k. Here k equal to 0 is not there.
oh, sir, okay, sir.
Okay, so k equal to 0 value will be 0. That
Yes,
is the
sir.
reason we will get that type of graph. Okay. Next is unit ramp. What is a ramp signal? A ramp signal is like that. All of you know. You have done in your signal system. Now simply if we replace it into discrete form, what you can write? Like that. This is n. If this is 1, this is 2, this is 3, this is 4, this is 5, 6, 7, like that. So that value will be 1, that value will be 2, that value will be 3, that value will be 4, 5, 6, like that it will change. As it is unit ramp, the angle will be obviously the 45 degree. And to make it 45 degree, whatever the change in x-axis will happen, for the same time, same change will be happen to the y-axis. So how you can represent that? R n, and that Rn will be n un. Okay, un is what? That sample. This is your un 1. Now simply, if we multiply n to each sample, and n varies like that, 0 to infinite you can consider. So for n equal to 0, for the first value, this is your n. For n equal to 0, you are getting 1 into 0. So the first value will be 0. First value will be 0. For n equal to 1, second value will be 1. For n equal to 2, third value will be 2. For n equal to 3, 3 into unit 1, so 3. So like that it will change. So you will get your unit ramp. So that is Rn equal to n un defines you the unit ramp signal, and it will be defined as n for n greater than equal to 0 and 0 for n less than 0. Because in the unit ramp you have a unit step multiplication, and the value of unit step will always be 0 for n less than 0. So unit ramp will also start from 0 and it will continue to positive side. Okay. So Rn equal to summation of k equal to 0 to infinite k delta n minus k. And okay, just one thing. You need to prove that. Obviously, the Rn is the unit ramp signal. Unit ramp signal is equal to, just note it down, that line, Rn equal to summation of k equal to 0 to infinite k delta n minus k. That you need to prove. That is unit ramp and that is unit impulse. Okay. Noted?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Exponential signal. Or more specifically, consider the real exponential. We are not considering any imaginary value. Okay. So one exponential signal xn is defined as its value c multiplied by r to the power n for a range minus infinity to infinity. Okay. Now, if we simply draw the graph will be dependent on the value of r, where c and r, keep in mind, both are real numbers. You can consider any value of c and r, but that must be the real numbers. Now, matter is that four conditions may happen here from that plot or from that equation. You can get four different conditions. In first condition, you can consider the value of r greater than 1. Any value of r that is greater than 1. Then simply you will get a curve like that. In and this is xn. For a value of r greater than 1, that is called the exponentially growing. In that equation, if we choose the value of r between 0 and 1, then opposite you will get. Means you will get a curve that is exponentially decaying. Exponentially decaying means a curve you will get like that. Okay. And third condition is that if the value of r is less than -1, if you consider that value, that will be exponentially growing just wait 1 minute. Hello. R less than -1, that will give you exponentially growing but with alternate sign. Means it will grow like that. Okay. It will grow but with alternate sign. The first value is 0, then second value is negative, third value is positive, fourth value is negative, fifth value is positive, negative, positive, negative, like that. In that way it will grow. And last condition, if r value is between -1 and 0, then it will be exponentially decaying with alternate sign. Okay. So these are the four conditions in case of real time discrete exponential signal. We will see. So this was the basic types of signal that will be used whenever any example you will do. In that example, you will see sometimes you need to use the unit step, sometimes you need to use the delta function with a specific delay, sometime ramp, sometime exponential. So you need to keep in mind those points. Next is periodic signal. That is very important point, periodic signal. Why? Because whatever the operation in DSP, digital signal processing, will be happen, that operation must be dependent on the periodicity of the signal. The reason is that if signal is periodic, defines that signal after a certain period it will repeat. This portion and this portion both are same, but after that period you are getting the repeated portion. Means what? If a periodic signal you are getting a range of suppose infinite range, the word length, the finite word length effect that you are getting, I have told you, that word length, you don't need to choose a infinite range. You can choose a finite range, because within that finite range simply that period continues. So suppose you have 1000 number of period, and after 2 pi it is repeating. That means what? You need to consider only a length 0 to 2 pi. You don't need to consider a length for 1000 periods. For 1000 periods will be what? 0 to 2 pi into 1000, like that, because this is first period, so this is 2 pi range. That type of 1000 number of periods means 2 pi into 1000. That is the word length. So you don't need to choose that length. Simply choose 2 pi. Within that range, you can consider all the periods. That is the important of periodicity. It will be more clear whenever we'll come to the Fourier transform, DFT, discrete Fourier transform. It will be more clear, but for now, if you have any confusion why periodicity is important, you can ask me. Okay. So what is periodicity? When a signal is said to be periodic, simply, as I have told you, at a certain period it will repeat. So if signal xn is periodic, then xn will be equal to x n plus n, or x n plus kn. Okay, that n defines this length, that is 0 to 2 pi. 0 to 2 pi defines by n, as 2 pi defines in a continuous way, that 2 pi is splitted in n number of, capital N number of samples. Okay, like that. This is your 0 to 2 pi. Keep in mind that sample. So what we are doing, we are splitting the sample into capital N number of samples. So that n number of samples will be obviously equal to 2 pi. If we consider all the samples, the same range we will get. So from continuous to discrete, we are considering that n. Now, this is the first position or the first period. This is the second period. Then you will get the third period. So this is 1, 2, 3, that value defines by k. So for the first period, it will be x n plus k, x n plus capital N. For second period, it will be x n plus 2 capital N, x n plus 3 capital N, in that way, and each and every period will be equal to each other as it is periodic. That is the basic principle of periodicity. Okay. Clear what is periodic signal?
Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, if you have any confusion, then you must ask me, okay? Then, suppose, consider one example. X1n and X2n. Two signals are given. And it is told it is periodic. It is periodic. And as it is periodic, obviously it will have periods n1 and n2. Means after n1 number of sample, x1 again repeat, and after n2 number of samples, x2 again repeat. So x1, x2 are periodic with the periods n1 and n2 respectively. So one equation is given, xn equal to x1n plus x2n. That xn must be periodic when under what condition? Under what conditions that xn must be periodic? That is your question. So
Sir, N1 may be a multiple of N2.
n1 may be multiple of n2.
N2.
Means n1 equal to kn2.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. Just follow the answer. It will be clear to you.
So the proportion of the time period should be integer.
Proportion of the time period should be integer. Obviously, it should be integer. All the values, that is capital N, K, that we will consider, all the values are integers. So obviously, it will be integer.
So
Okay.
it should be LCM of N1 and N2.
LCM of N1 and N2. That is also okay. That is also okay. Now, why this type of answers are coming, it will be more clear to others if we just follow the answer. Just take it. Come to the next page. X1n, that is periodic. So obviously x1 n plus n1, as the period of x1n is n1. So x1 n plus n1 or x1 n plus p n1. P is a simply integer. So for the first period, for the second period, for the third period, you will get the same value as x1n. Similarly, x2n you will get. So x2n plus n2 and x2n plus qn2. PQ are integer. Keep in mind. PQ integer. Okay. Now the equation xn you have. Okay. The equation you have xn. You have to prove that xn is periodic for a certain condition. So if we consider that xn is periodic, then what we can write? xn plus n, xn equal to, just consider here, if that is periodic, suppose with a period value of n, then xn, that equation can be written as xn plus n equal to x1 n plus n plus x2 n plus n. Now x1 n plus n will be, suppose, consider the p number of samples. For p number of samples, we can write like that. Similarly, for q number of samples, x1 n plus qn plus x2 n plus qn, we can write like that because periodic. So for each and every value of p or q, it will be the same. Now, matter is that if pn and qn are equal, what I have told you, if pn and qn are equal, then means simply if you replace pn by qn, no change will happen. Then what will happen? Equation will become x1 n plus p n plus x2 n plus qn. x1 n plus pn means, obviously pn is n1, because for that sample you can consider n1 too. So x1 pn1, x2 qn1 defines what? x1 and x2. So simply x1n you can write, and this is, you can write x2n. So that is your xn. So xn, you are getting xn plus n or n plus n1. When? When you are considering that pn equal to qn, or simply that pn1, for these two condition, pn1 equal to qn2. Simply these two cases. If these two are the same, then xn equal to xn plus n, small n plus capital N. That you can write. So the condition is that pn1 and qn2 must be equal. pn1 must be equal to qn2, or simply n1 by n2 will be q by p. Q is an integer, p is an integer, so q by p is a ratio of two integers, means it's a rational number. Definition of rational number is that it's a ratio of two integers, 5 by 6, 3 by 4, 3 by 6, 1 by 2, like that. All are rational numbers. So, but 5.1 by 3, that is not a rational number, keep in mind. Must be the integer. Not any floating point number will be considered here. So, Q is an integer, P is an integer, so it's a rational number. So N1 by N2, that ratio must be the rational number. That is your condition to make Xn periodic. Now, that rational number will give you some values. Suppose N1, N2 is P, Q may be 3, P may be 4, suppose. So you can write 3 by 4, you can write 6 by 8, you can write 9 by 12, all are the same. You can write 12 by 16. So in that way you can continue. Okay, but which value you will consider? The lowest LCM. The LCM you will consider as a period of that Xn. That Xn. Of that Xn. Okay. Periodic condition is N1. Now, from here, what should be the period? Period will be whatever the value of N1 and N2 ratio you are getting here. From that ratio, you have to calculate the LCM. Minimum LCM. That minimum LCM will be the period of the signal. Okay. So LCM between N1 and N2. Clear or not?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Then simply consider one example. Z n equal to Z1n plus Z2n. That sequence is given. It's a periodic signal with a period of N1 equal to 90, N2 equal to 54. Okay, and Z1 and Z2 both are periodic. Z1 is periodic with periods N1 90, Z2 is periodic with periods N2 54. So simply, what is the period of that signal Zn? So simply what you will do? N1 by N2, 90 by 54, that is 5 by 3. So it is rational number. It is proved that it is periodic. N1 by N2 you are getting a rational number, so it is proved that you are getting it's periodic. And period, what is the period N for Zn? LCM, calculate the LCM of N1 and N2. What will be the value of LCM of N1 and N2? Anyone?
270.
217 or 70?
70, sir. 70.
Yes. 270. So period for this signal is 270. Okay. So in that way you can calculate the periods of a signal. Just write it down. X1 n equal to un plus u of minus n. x to n equal to summation of k equal to minus infinity to infinity delta n minus 4k minus delta n minus 1 minus 4k. Okay, you have to calculate the, first you need to prove that whether periodic or not, then you need to calculate the period. This is your home task, just write it down. Now, the example that we have seen for periodic signal is not sinusoidal. The example is not sinusoidal. If you are getting a sinusoidal signal, means it is not sinusoidal, defines that it is dependent on time. But if any signal is dependent on frequency, then how do you calculate the period of the signal related to frequency? For that case, you need to consider a sinusoidal signal. Sinusoidal signal means sine, cosine, tan, like that. So simply consider xn equal to e to the power j omega n. It's a sinusoidal signal. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Okay. It's a sinusoidal signal. So you need to write down the condition of the periodicity of that sinusoidal signal. So to develop the condition of periodicity is periodic. Suppose that signal is periodic. So you can write e to the power j omega n as e to the power j omega n plus n, or e to the power j omega n into e to the power j omega capital N. So as it is periodic we are considering, obviously this will be equal to this when this portion will be equal to 1. If e to the power j omega capital N is 1, then j omega small n will be equal to j omega small n. So e to the power j omega capital N must be 1. And 1 is defined as e to the power j 2 pi capital N. Consider any value, any integer value of capital N. Any integer value of capital N you can consider here. You will get the value always 1, as it is 2 pi. E to the power j theta is cos theta plus j sin theta. So simply put the values, you will get your result. Okay. So from here, as this is variable, so it will be the same. So consider defined thing, because this and this are not the same. Okay. So e to the power j 2 pi k. Both are variable, both are integer. So for this case, omega n will be 2 pi k. Omega n will be 2 pi k. or simply you can write omega by 2 pi equal to k by n. What is omega by 2 pi?
1 by f.
F equal to, or simply omega equal to 2 pi f. Omega by 2 pi is equal to 1 by f.
If
F. Yes. So f will be k by n. K is an integer, n is an integer. If you are getting frequency is a rational number, then this is periodic. Okay. That f is called the fundamental frequency. Sometimes it is defined as FD also. So simply from a given expression, sinusoidal expression, you need to calculate the value of FD, and if FD is a rational number, then it's a periodic. And here the fundamental period is defined as capital N. Capital N. That capital N is the period. Okay. So simply, if you have given one example like that, xn equal to e to the power j 7 pi n, xn equal to 3 e to the power j 3 pi by 5 n plus half, xn equal to 3 e to the power j 3 by 5, sorry, 3 by pi n plus half, and another d xn equal to e to the power j 0.2 n pi plus e to the power minus j 0.3 n pi. For these four different values, you need to uh, you need to prove that, or simply you need to calculate whether it is periodic or not. If this is periodic, then what is the value of fundamental period? That you need to calculate. Just note it down. Okay, any question up to that? Because today I will just end the class here. So if you have any question up to that, now you can ask me.
sir, the last one D, is it Z into 0?
J into 0.2, and this is minus j into 0.3.
স্যার সি এরটা এন প্লাস হাফ তো নাকি?
n plus 1 by 2. n plus 1 by 2. So any questions up to that?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Okay. Okay, then for today, just I am ending the class. Tomorrow again we will meet in the same time.
Thank you, sir.
So
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
thank you all. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. So tomorrow just join in the same link. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
Okay, sir.
Hmm.